Hi guys, Cole here with another episode of the Tulip Church podcast. In today's episode, there's myself, Ashlyn, and Jeff all talking about a couple different things. We talked about life for a while. We also talked a lot about surviving in the monotony of things. It hit me that Jeff's been in ministry for almost 40 years. So I just really wanted to ask him what it's like to do the same thing for so long. And I think no matter who you are, you're going to benefit from this conversation. Whether you are a parent who's raising their kids right now in a tough season, or if you have a job that you're struggling to just maintain and keep, whatever that is, I really think you're going to benefit from this, because since Jeff has done this so long, he had some really good insight on what it means to stay on mission, on what it means to really be passionate and not let the repetitiveness beat you. So I hope you enjoy today's episode between myself, Ashlyn, and Jeff. If you had to preach a sermon using only one book of the Bible for a whole year, what book would you use?
Wait, did you start it yet?
That's the question. I just asked him.
No, are you recording?
I've been recording for a few minutes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
If I had to preach just out of one book of the Bible for a whole year,
I already know it.
probably Matthew.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I was going to guess John.
John?
John is great. I mean, I think I could preach out of John for a whole year, but because it would take you a while to get through 13, 14, 15, 16, 17.
Hmm.
But Matthew, it's just such a good synopsis of all that. Yeah, and it has a Sermon on the Mount.
I mean, didn't you at one point spend, I don't know if it was a full year, but I think it was most of a year on Matthew 5, 6, and 7.
It could have been.
It might have been a whole year.
Could have been. Well, I mean, I know I moved around, but extra was basically taken out of all of that, and I preached on that for a year. So, it's just, yeah. So I don't know that you run out of material in any of them, but that's the, yeah.
Ashlyn, what would your book be?
I do love Sermon on the Mount. John, Acts, or Roman.
You can't pick.
You can't. He said one.
I said one book.
He said one.
I can't choose. They're all good. I'll think about it.
So here's the deal. So we went through Acts. We went through Acts with our group, and I've led different groups through Acts, and Acts like 1 through 11, 12, those are really, and then you start talking about, and then it becomes this thing of, well, Paul went here and he did this, and Paul went there and he did that, and Paul went there and he did this, and Paul went here and he did that, and it's like, after a while, for the last portion of that, you're kind of going,
okay,
we get it.
Good for you, Paul.
We get
it. So happy for you.
I would agree with that.
So that beginning part, the birth of the church, all that is good stuff, and the Spirit working through the disciples and the believers is all good. But I'm gonna have to pick a gospel if I'm gonna spend a whole year on it.
And it's a good one.
Yeah.
You could do Romans.
I like Romans so much because I feel like it's very like, this is how you walk in the way of Jesus, or like,
Yep.
I don't know, very defining to the Christian walk and like the freedom that you have in Jesus?
I guess the question would have to be dissected further to really answer the question, because am I just getting my main scripture from that one book, or am I pulling, like, that's all I can use? Because that would also make a difference. Because if I can just use, it would have to be the gospel.
I don't know. I mean, I think that's it. You can't. You asked me what book am I going to preach out of? Well, I'm going to base everything out of Matthew.
Okay, so based. Yeah.
But but I don't know that you can necessarily, or that you should necessarily, just stay in that one spot.
Yeah.
I think it's good to show other scriptural connections.
Go sit in Greg's Sunday school class for 1 week, and you're like, we're going to study the book of Ephesians, and you end up in
walk in,
Genesis, and then you go to Hosea, and then you're going to end up in Hebrews, and then you're going to go to just a portion of Revelation, and then he'll say, that's Ephesians.
That's Ephesians.
Like, stop. Help.
Yeah.
Plug Greg's Sunday school. Starts at 9:30 Sunday mornings, and then go to church after.
Yep, good stuff.
It is good.
It is good stuff.
Wait, I need to know while you look at your next question. What are you drinking, Jeff?
Root beer.
I'm drinking a Coke this time.
Coca-Cola.
That is not what I was going to guess. Root beer. Do you like root beer?
Root beer was yesterday's drink.
I knew it.
Yeah.
That's funny. Do you cook for yourself when Rhonda's gone?
No.
Does Rhonda prep
Rhonda
meals for you?
Stuff for me to eat while she's gone.
That's a good wife right there.
Don't forget. There's this, and this in the refrigerator, and it's not necessarily that. I mean, she has cooked it. I mean, but most of the time it's just stuff that we've had left over. And when she knows that she's going to be gone, she makes a little extra and then puts it in the refrigerator for me, and then I don't have to worry about it.
Oh,
isn't that nice?
That is nice.
That must be really nice.
I don't do that for Cole. Go. You can fend for yourself.
She goes, the fridge is empty.
The difference,
May the force be with you.
I think the difference is that sometimes, like, even when you're home, Cole will cook.
And you never cook?
I rarely cook.
You grill.
I will grill. But
that's it.
But that's pretty much it. I don't know that my cooking is fit to eat for anybody.
That's so.
I think
funny.
I could, but I've never had to.
I enjoy cooking. So
good for you.
I do cook.
But I will say the way that Cole cooks and the way that I cook is very different.
I cook really good.
Cole
food.
likes to cook very.
No!
Wait a second.
That's what I caught. I caught that. Anyway.
I was gonna say that Cole cooks very hearty meals. Like I
like to eat.
His go-to is like stroganoff or homemade hamburger helper, or
I've made that one
anything
time.
that involves a pasta, some kind of heavy sauce, and meat.
Yeah.
That's a full meal.
And I think it is good. Like, it is good, but I also don't always want to eat like that. And you could eat the same thing for like a week. I can't.
We'd have a lot more money if we did.
I'd eat the same thing all the time.
No.
I could do that too.
I like to have some color on my plate.
I could eat my homemade hamburger helper probably like
I will say
every meal for the rest of my life.
Homemade hamburger helper one night for dinner. I was just not feeling like cooking, and Levi was the happiest.
I bet.
He eats like me.
Yep.
Anyway.
Boy's gotta have them calories. All right. So just coming through Easter not that long ago, I guess. At least that's whenever we started talking about this podcast. And something that struck me more so this year than it has in the past was just like, I don't know, the repetitiveness of Easter and all the things that come with that, which I've only been...
You've done how many Easters?
I mean, on staff, 4, but I don't know how many I've actually like helped with here. I mean, probably closer to
So you did you
6
you
or
helped, I
7.
was just say you helped with a couple of them really even before you were on staff.
Yeah. So I mean, I probably 6 or 7-ish. So not that many, but closer to a decade than I actually thought. So yeah. But I don't know, I'm at the point now after 4 years of really doing it where like I mean, I love Easter. But Easter rolls around and I'm
You
like
mean you did love Easter?
I love what it stands for.
Are you talking about like repetitiveness, like as a
like example
church staff person, or
I don't know, not even necessarily just as church staff, just as someone who like does and attends these things. Like, for us, every Thursday, Monday, Thursday, we have Monday, Thursday service.
Mm-hmm.
And that's typically very similar. This year was actually, I would say, different. But that's very similar. And then Friday, we have Good Friday service. And then we actually don't do anything on Saturday. And then Sunday, you have the whole Easter gambit of stuff. And like at a certain point, my brain starts to go, oh, I've been here. Like I've done like a deja vu, I've done this before. And so that just got me thinking, and how many years have you been here at this church?
28.
28 years.
That's
which is crazy.
It is crazy.
I'm not even 28 years old.
Shut up. I don't think I'm allowed to say that.
But I was like, wow, if me after 4 to 6 years of doing this, I'm like, I've been here. Like, I get it. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine how Jeff has done that for, you've been on staff at churches for 30 plus years doing stuff. So, and I also think longevity is a really good thing to talk about too, because all of us at some point or another have that, whether that's in like a career, if you're going to make a career and be successful, like, I think of teachers that I know and stuff like that who have been teachers for a really, really long time. And that's super admirable. Or, even as a parent, like that's a lifelong thing that you've chosen to do that you're going to have to achieve longevity in. So, I wanted to ask a couple questions on, staying alive and those things basically, because some days I feel like I can't stay alive. And again, I've not been at it for very long. So first question, what has helped you stay faithful and motivated over the years of ministry?
But the biggest thing is just knowing that's my calling. It's not even necessarily what I want to do as much as it is what I'm supposed to do. How do you get out of or stop doing something that you're supposed to do? So, I mean, there've been plenty of times. I mean, we joke about this. I have plenty of friends who joke about this. I joke about this. It's like I resign every Monday. Today's Monday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've resigned at least once today. It's like after Sundays, I'm tired. There's a lot of. I mean, it's not always that way, but there's also days where you're like, you don't know that there were any results. You don't know that there was any progress made in any way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. And so you're just kind of like, I'm killing myself for nothing, or I'm wasting my time, or I put in all this work and nothing's happening. But so it'd be easy to quit, but that's not what I'm called to. I mean, and I wasn't called. I mean, I didn't call myself. I was called to it. So, I have a friend of mine who is an elder that says, these people can't fire me because they're not the ones who called me to be an elder. It was God, right? And I think the same thing is true with pastoring. It's like I don't know that I want to do it. I don't know that I can't not do it. And I know that people can't tell me that I shouldn't, or can tell me that I shouldn't. Whatever. I'm getting all my things mixed up, but
no, that's true
because they're not the ones who called me.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't either. So I don't. So I think it's that perspective that just kind of goes. There's something bigger here at work than just what I'm feeling or what I'm doing or through that process. And I think the other thing is that you were talking about teachers, right? And I've known a lot of teachers. I've worked with a lot of teachers, and you can tell when a teacher goes, "I know it." Right. So they quit learning, or they quit growing, or they quit thinking they have. Right. It's like I'm offering everything I know at this point. Right? It's like the minute you do that, you lose effectiveness.
Hmm.
So it's also that thing of going, I'm not the same person I was last year. I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago. I'm not the same person I was. Certainly not the same person I was 28 years ago. So I just, so it's that knowledge that I still have stuff to learn. I still have a long way to go in my understanding of what it means to be a follower and a Christian of Jesus and a Christian, and so I can preach out of what I'm growing from, as opposed to, well, let me tell you how to do it.
Mm.
I don't know if that's. I think that's what keeps me going.
That's good. That's good. Remind me of I think it's Spurgeon had a quote at one point. He's like, only do ministry if you can't not do it. Like, and I think that just like what you're saying, like calling and whatever you've been called to in that season, like that's what you've been told to do. So that's what you do.
Well, I'm sure I've told you something very similar, because I've had multiple people tell me that. It's right. It's if you can do anything else, if you feel like you're supposed to be in ministry, but you can do anything else, then you probably weren't called to it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can do anything else, then by all means do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But if God won't leave you alone, what are you supposed to do?
I remember in like college and Bible college, a lot of our leaders would always tell us, remember your why, because it is very easy, like, when you go through hard seasons, whether it's in ministry or whatever it is that we're like called to be doing, like there are hard seasons because, and like Cole's been talking to me about this week, like we do have an enemy to our souls, and like he doesn't want us to grow in relationship with God or further like his kingdom. And so we are going to have hard seasons. And in those hard seasons, it's very easy to feel like, oh, I'm just going to quit because maybe I'm just not meant to do this. But remember, like they would always tell us, remember your why, like remember, who called you and why he called you, and like not like, and sit on that and not in what's happening, like in the moment, because moments are fleeting.
Yeah. And the why is not how many people show up on Sunday morning, or how many people do this, or, are people singing well on Sunday morning, or that's not the why. And sometimes we do get that mixed up, and we start thinking, well, if people aren't going to show up, then why am I doing this? Or if people aren't going to respond, then why am I doing this? And it's like, go back to the prophets. There are a lot of times the prophets didn't want to do what God told them to do, but because they knew that people weren't going to respond. I mean, Jonah, why should I go? Well, because they will respond this time, and I don't want them to.
How do you handle the monotony of doing the same thing every single year?
Based on what you said earlier, and I know this is terrible, I'm not even sure I should confess this, but Easter and Christmas
they're brutal.
Have gotten to have come to the point where, I mean, I mean, I'm with you. I love what they stand for. I love the,
Yeah.
I mean,
I enjoyed the moment
right.
while I'm doing it.
Yes, but it is that thing of every year, and I say this all the time. It's like, how many ways can I tell you that Jesus was born? How many ways can I tell you that Jesus died and was and was resurrected?
28 years.
Yeah,
28 so far.
Apparently 28 times
so
I've had to do this so far, right? And so it's always this thing of how do you do that in a different way or in a new way or and it's like you can't, you just can't. So I think the thing that I've tried to do, like I said earlier, is try to find the places where I've grown or a different understanding or a different perspective on it, or I just try to find, if I can find one thing to grab a hold of and say, this is worth holding on to, or this is worth noting, or this is worth focusing on for a short period of time, then that's what I try to do. But I also have to remember, it's a little bit like somebody having an appendectomy.
Oh yeah, one of those.
Yeah. So
a what?
Having your appendix taken out.
I'm glad you asked because I didn't know either.
Sorry,
I'm just so
appendectomy.
silly.
See, I'm around anyway. So it's a little bit like somebody having their appendix taken out, right? It's like for the doctor, it is monotony because they've done 800,000, whatever, right? They've done thousands of them, but for me, I only got one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still major surgery for me. It's still life and death for me, but for them, it's like, do I have to do another one of these?
Mm.
And so I just have to remind myself that while I'm thinking, do I have to do another Christmas and another Easter? And do I have to figure out how to make it special? And do we have to figure out, not necessarily how to top last year, but do we have to figure out all those things? I just have to remember that for somebody, it might be the first time that they've come back in, or that they've come in at all. So I try to keep that in mind as well. So that helps keep it from
really
being
good.
too monotonous. But it's hard. It is hard sometimes to not, but it's also kind of the same thing of, I've been here for 28 years. How long do you people need me to tell you how to do things or how to be or whatever? There's moments like that where you feel that too. But
I think it's cool. Like, you've done it so many times, it allows you to be like, at least from my point of view, it allows you to be more creative probably than you would be, someone who hasn't been there, done that so many times and present it in unique ways. Like, Christmas Eve is another one of those things where it has potential to be the exact same thing every year, and no one would probably complain about it. They'd be like, "Oh, this, like it's a comfort service," but you do switch it up enough, and you are creative with it in different things, and it does present it in a new way. And thinking of like what you just said, and it might be someone's first time ever coming to something like that. Like, I think that all of your years of experience of doing that shows through and makes that more special for those people. So I don't know. That's cool. I don't know if I never thought of that, but hadn't necessarily thought of it like that before. And like something that's monotonous to us is such a big deal for them. Like a surgeon, who I really hope it's monotonous for them, because that means that they do a good job.
Right. Right.
Same thing for you. So yeah, that's cool. It's really cool.
I think it's also important, especially once you're around for a while, to surround yourself with a good team.
Makes life way easier.
Well, or at least good sounding boards that you can kind of go, this is what I'm thinking. Help me think this through. And Rhonda's done that a lot for me, where it's like, this is is what I'm thinking. And she's like, you might need to think that through a little bit more. Or
something about your wife that just really brings humility.
That part is clear, but but this part over here, not so clear. I'm not following that. So, and I tend to be especially with her, I tend to be an external thinker. So I'm just spewing things out, and sometimes I can tell that it's working, and sometimes it's not. And then that just kind of broadens out from there. And sometimes we throw it past some other people. And when it came to Christmas Eve, when we had the different, the different gifts that we were opening, right? And I just kind of threw it to some people to write those out, and again, I had to explain what we were doing to them too. So, I mean, and then having that feedback of, well, that part's clear, but this part might not be. And so that worked. So again, surrounding yourself with good people and people that you trust, and that kind of can help you define and form and put those things in helps. Whereas before, I always felt like I had to do it myself. I still do a lot myself, but that's my issue, not anybody else's. So, but I do have a good team.
That's awesome.
Makes a huge difference.
Last question on that. What is something you wish baby Jeff had known, early starting out, 20-some-year-old Jeff had known? Right? 20-something?
Starting out
I was probably 25 when I got my first gig, so to speak. Yeah.
Wow, you were old, bro. Gosh.
How many years ago is that?
A long time ago. My math is not working well today. It's a Monday. I've quit and all kinds of things. So anyway.
All kinds of things.
25 to 60.
62.
That's real close to 40 years.
Yeah. I'm getting there. What do I wish I would have known, or what? I don't know. In some ways, it's a dangerous game to play. Not dangerous. That's not the right word, but it's kind of like if I'd have known, how much would that have changed me? And so I think, are there some things that I wish that I would have done different, some mistakes that I made that maybe I shouldn't have made along the way? Absolutely. But in terms of growth and getting to the point where I am right now, and I don't know, seeing the way that God has shaped me, I don't know that I'd tell myself much different. I mean, not ministry wise. I think there's some person things and some family things that might have been a little different, but in terms of ministry, I think he always had me exactly where he needed me to be. I wish, there's a part of me that says that I wish I would have had more confidence in him, in believing that he actually called me and doing those things. But there's also times when I think that my lack of confidence has been beneficial to me at the same time. Like, because I don't trust myself, so I have to trust him. I don't believe in myself, but he does. So I can rest on what he believes more than what I read than what I believe in me. So, I mean, it just blows my mind, right? I mean, I've talked about this before. I have had two. This will be weird. So I had two dreams at different points. Two things that I really wanted to be. Well, one was a stunt man, but that's That's a whole different story.
Hey, I think
right?
on youth group nights, you are a stuntman with games.
I have been,
not
but
as much as
not
you
so
used
much
to be.
anymore. Once I turned 60, I stopped doing those things.
I remember when I was in youth group, you were definitely you filled the stuntman role for a little bit.
But one was, and I really wanted to be a rock and roll star. You know, it's like, and I kind of feel like it some days, right? I mean, we got an amazing team and an amazing group and an amazing worship band, and I get to play around with that. That's an amazing thing. So he kind of allowed me to have that one, even though it's like I didn't think that would ever happen. And then I also at one point thought that I was supposed to be a band director, and yet he didn't allow that to happen in the early years, and it was like, no, you're going into ministry. And yet then, because I followed him and just kept listening, he let me do that too. So, I mean, God just has a way sometimes of allowing your dreams. They're just not the way that you think that they're going to be.
Mm-hmm. Right? They always are better.
Yeah. So and if I went back and changed those things and went, no, I'm going this way, I don't know that any of that would have happened in the way that it needed to.
It was really cool. When we had the worship night a couple weeks ago, Cole and I were on our way home. I think it was that night. And I was just like, wow. Cause like you've told us that before about you want to like be a rock star. Like,
but I haven't got the face. So that's okay. Anyway.
And I remember telling Cole, I was like, wow, how cool is it of God to like, I was like, he like literally like kind of allowed Jeff to like have
let my little inner rock star come out.
Yeah. Cause like you're at the Shawnee Theater. They had all the lights going like, and it was like it was like a concert. I mean, it was like worship night, but you know, that different setting. And I was like, that's just so cool. Like, and I think that just really speaks to like the faithfulness of God. Mm-hmm. Like, and when you're faithful, when you choose to seek him and to give up your desires for his desires, even though in the moment, like you don't necessarily want to, and you're like, I don't like this. Right. Like, I don't like this. I don't want to do this. But you're like, but you know, your desires is over my desires. And you choose that. Like, he's so faithful to like provide and faithful to bless in abundance. And like, that's so cool. Yep. It's good stuff.
So, you know, you kind of start with monotony, and I guess in the long run, I mean, yes, you do things and you do them over and over again. I mean, I have no idea how many sermons I've preached. None.
That's crazy.
Right. I mean, let's just assume that
just 52 a year.
Thousands.
Yeah, I mean, I don't quite do 52 a year, but I mean,
probably averages out because you've had weeks where you do.
It could be.
Did you guys do when you first started at Tulip? Was it a like Sunday morning, Sunday night type of deal, or was it always just
Sunday night was more of a Bible study.
So you're still only one a week.
Yeah, then? I still only did one a week at that point. So, but still, even then, it's like
it's 1,450 right there. If you just took 28 times 52.
How many?
1,456.
Oh my God. I had no clue.
And it's probably been like more than that.
And then if you had weddings and funerals and all those things on top of that,
you probably average somewhere like 60 to 75 a year.
I had no clue that it was that many.
So you're probably getting pretty close to 2,000.
Yeah, and so you're going.
That's crazy.
The monotony, right? I mean, it's like how many of those things do you do, and all that. Still doesn't add up to loads of laundry that most wives do. But talk about monotony.
True that.
But sorry, slight sidetrack. But it's all those moments, right? Of like worship nights or the different things where God says, I need you to do this, but I'm also going to grant you this at the same time. And it's like, you're not going, well, it's worth it. It's just the blessing of it certainly overcompensates for the monotony. And then of course, we haven't even talked about seeing people's lives changed, which is the reason why we do it anyway. Here's your outro. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So I had the biggest compliment, and I'm trying to remember who gave it to me. I don't know that it matters who gave it to me, but I had a great compliment this week. Person came up to me and said, by the way, we love your podcast. Great.
Wow. Gosh.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
Here's the reason why.
I'm so scared. It puts them to sleep.
They love my voice and they put it on for their children at night. And this voice just puts their kids right to sleep.
Are you serious?
Yep. You could have left that part off. You didn't have to include why. You could have just said that you really liked it.
No, it's good.
I think it's a great compliment.
I'm good with that. Listen, because then you've got then they're hearing my voice at night and they're hearing what we're saying at night, and it's all just sinking in.
That's right.
Right. So
as they sleep, so subconsciously.
we are indoctrinating. I mean, we are teaching your children.
We are indoctrinating
as they sleep at night. So it's a good thing right there.
Oh my goodness.
I think that's what we should call this episode, is the indoctrination of your children. I think that's just a great that's a great title.
No, I don't know if that's a great title.
If you enjoyed today's conversation, please leave us a comment and let us know. We hope you all have a blessed week.